Chapter 2, Section 3, the percent proportion. Essential question: how can percent help you understand situations involving money? Vocabulary: percent proportion. Railroad link: monster trucks. The tires on a monster truck weigh approximately 2 tons. The entire truck weighs about 6 tons. Write the ratio of tire weight to total weight as a fraction. So the part is the tire weight, and we know that the tires altogether weigh approximately 2 tons. Now the whole truck weighs about 6 tons. So that's 2 to 6. So represent the fraction above by shading in the model. Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes. So I want to shade 2 out of 6 of them. Write the fraction as a decimal to the nearest hundredth. Well, that is going to give us 0 and 33 hundredths. The way I did that was by taking 2 6 and making that into a fraction was 33 hundredths repeating. So rounding it to the nearest hundredth gives me 33 hundredths. Number 4. About what percent of the monster truck's weight is the tires? Well, if I take my 33 hundredths and I multiply it by 100, that gives me approximately 33%. Key concept: use the percent proportion. So the type: to find the percent, to find the part, and to find the whole. 3 different examples. The first one, to find the percent, we're going to look at an example. What percent of 5 is 4? 4 is our part, 5 is our total. We want to find the percentage. So that means our percent is n divided by 100. Next is to find the part. What number is 80% of 5? So the part is P, the whole is 5, and it's 80 out of 100 because it's 80%. Lastly, to find the whole, 4 is 80% of what number? 4 is the part, W is the whole, 80% out of 100. That's how you set up the proportion. So in a percent proportion, one ratio or fraction compares part of a quantity to the whole quantity. The other ratio is the equivalent percent written as a fraction with a denominator of 100. So it's just giving us 2 different ratios. We have our 4/5 and we have our 80 hundredths. The 4/5 comes from 4 out of 5. 4 is your part, 5 is your whole. Is 80%, so 80 out of 100. So let's try example 1. What percent of 15 is $9? So it's asking us to solve for the percent. So that means that we are going to be solving for our P. So I'm going to show my work off to the off to the right. So I'm going to set up my ratios. I don't know what my percent is, so I'm just going to put a P, and I do know that my percent is always out of 100. $15 is my total. $9 is my part. So now what I'd like to do is to go ahead and do cross multiplying. We did this last chapter. So I'm going to do 9 times 100 and 15 times P. So 9 times 100 equals 15 times P. 9 times 100 is 900 equals 15P. I want to get my variable P by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 15. 900 divided by 15 gives me 60. 60 equals P, or in this case, P equals 60. So that means that what percent of $15 is $9? It's going to be 60%. If you take a look at how the book approached it, they used a different variable. Instead of using the variable P, they used the variable N. It's completely up to you on which variable you use. Don't use the letter O because it looks like a 0. But I used a variable P, so then that way I knew that was my percentage. Got it? We're going to try letter A and B to find out. So we're going to find what percent of 25 is 20. So I'm going to set up my proportions. This is out of 100, so I'm going to find my percentage. Then I want to put my part, which is 20, divided by my whole, which is 25. Then I'm going to do my cross multiplying. 20 times 100 equals 25 times P. 20 times 100 equals 25 times P. This is going to give me 2,000 equals 25P. I'm going to divide both sides by 25. That gives me 80 equals P. So my percent equals 80%. Letter B, $12.75 is what percent of $50? I'm going to set up my proportion. I'm going to find the percent, which is out of 100. $12.75 is the part, while $50 is the whole. And then I'm going to cross multiply. 1275 times 100, 50 times P. So 1275 times 100 equals 50 times P. 1275 times 100 gives you 1,275, which equals 50P. I'm going to divide both sides by 50. So the percentage is 25 and 5/10%. Let's continue. Example 2. What number is 40% of 120? Well, when we're finding the what number is, that means that we're going to be finding the part. So I'm going to set up my proportion off to the right. And I'm going to use x divided by 120, because 120 is my total, 40% over 100. I'm going to cross multiply. X times 100, 40 times 120. So 100 times x equals 120 times 40. So that leaves me with 100x equals 120 times 40, gives me 4,800. I'm going to divide both sides by 100, and I get x equals 48. So 48 is 40% of 120. Now, as you can see, they use the variable P here rather than for the percent. You can use a P for part instead. And let me make the correction. That is not the answer for letter C. I rewrote that incorrectly. So let's try letter C. What number is 5% of 60? So I'm going to show my work to the left. I'm going to set up my ratios. I know that the right side is going to be my percent out of 100. So it's 5% out of 100. We're going to find the part, which is our x, out of 60. Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to cross multiply. 60 times 5, 100 times x. 60 times 5 equals 100 times x. That is 300 equals 100 times x. I'm going to divide 100 from both sides. I get 3 equals x, so x equals 3. So what number is 5% of 60? That is going to be the answer of 3. Letter D, 12% of 85 is what number? Well, if I set up my ratio, my proportions, it's going to be 12 out of 100 on the right side. And I'm going to solve for my part out of my whole of 85. I'm going to cross multiply. X times 100, 85 times 12. So this becomes 100 times x equals 85 times 12. The left side becomes 100x. 85 times 12 is 1020. Divide both sides by 100, and I get the answer of x equals 10 and 2 tenths, or 10.02. I mean 10.2. All right, let's continue with example number 3. 18 is 25% of what number? This time we are solving for our whole part, so we'll use the variable w. Of course, you can use whatever variable you would prefer. We just like to try to make ones that are easy to remember. Okay, so if I set up my ratio off to the left, 18 is 25% of what number? Well, 25 divided by 100, because that's our percentage. 18 is part. We want to find the whole, which, again, this time we'll use the variable w. So I'm going to cross multiply, just like I have been. 18 times 100, 25 times w. So 25 times w equals 18 times 100. 25w equals 1800. Divide both sides by 25. And I get w equals 72. So 18 is 25% of 72. Our whole number is 72. So let's try letter E and F to find out if we understand this. 40% of what number is 26? Well, let's set up our percent proportion. We know it's going to be 40 divided by 100 for our percent ratio. Then it's 26 over W, because 26 is our part. 26 times 100 equals 40 times W. 26 times 100 equals 40 times W. So that gives us 2600 equals 40W. I'm going to divide both sides by 40. 2600 divided by 40 gives me 65. So my whole number is 65. Letter F, 84 is 75% of what number? So it's 75 out of 100%. 84 is my part. My whole is unknown. So I'm going to cross multiply. 84 times 100 equals 75 times W. 84 times 100 equals 75 times W. So this leaves me with 8400 equals 75W. I'm going to divide both sides by 75. That gives me 112 equals W. So W equals 112. So my whole number is 112. Let's move on to example number 4. The average adult male Western lowland gorilla eats about 33 and 5/10 pounds of fruit each day. How much food does the average adult male gorilla eat each day? So you know that 33 and 5/10 pounds is the part, because the average adult male eats about 33 and 5/10 pounds of fruit each day. How much does the average adult male gorilla eat each day? So we're going to set up a proportion. 33 and 5/10 out of our whole amount. Now, the fruit is just 67% of the gorilla's diet. So that's 67 out of 100. So I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to do 33 and 5/10 times 100 and 67 times W. 67 times W equals 33 and 5/10 times 100. 67W equals 3,350. I'm going to divide both sides by 67. So 3,350 divided by 67. The whole is 50. So the average adult male gorilla eats 50 pounds of food each day.